Hi, this is Pat Iyer with Legal Nurse Podcast, and I have with me a person who is an expert on bodybuilding, weight, nutrition, stress management, fitness. Her whole realm is about helping people feel better and live their healthiest life. Batista Gremaud and I met when we became involved in the same networking and joint venture relationship forming group. Joint ventures, for those of you who are not in this world, are when two people come together to find out what they have in common and how they can promote each other's businesses. And when I talked to Batista at this event, I thought that the information that she could bring to you about these topics is timely and essential for helping all of us feel better, live our best life, both physically and emotionally. These are trying times, and Batista has some of those tips to help you get through those times. So, welcome to the show, Batista.
Well, thank you. And I'm honored to be here and to share maybe a little bit of my wisdom in those topics with your listeners. So thank you.
You are welcome. Tell us how you got started in this field of fitness and wellness.
Well, I am actually a former professional dancer with an expertise in ballet and flamenco. And so that was my whole life. And so I was always very interested in movement and health. But what happened is I also had some car accidents when I was in my early 20s, and dancing over car accidents years after years after years, even though I was taking care of myself and doing therapies and basically trying everything to heal my injuries, I wasn't able to really make a dent. And when I reached my mid 40s, I was against the wall. I was in so much pain. I had so many chronic injuries that I was actually facing losing my career altogether. I couldn't go on. And I never believed in like being a victim. I believe that we can take action and manifest. And my other passion is actually spirituality and metaphysical science, positive thinking and all those aspects that a lot of people are really um, into right now. I've been in those fields for many, many years. And when I was in a meditation class one day, I had a moment of clarity. It's like waking up from a dream, if you can relate to that. And I was in this meditation class where the topic was on body, mind, spirit integration. And everybody was beautiful, all my friends and everything. But I woke up and I realized that my body was falling apart. And so that topic, body, mind, spirit, was like, where is the body? I saw a lot of beautiful people in the room, a lot of people with really great intentions, beautiful soul, everything. But then I saw a lot of pain around me. Also, those same people, um, overweight, underweight, with pain, injuries, like me, like what I was suffering from. And I realized that there was a piece of the puzzle missing. So I prayed very hard and I did everything I ever learned about manifesting, praying, lighting candles, you name it, I did it. And the very next day, I met Dr. Fitness USA. The very next day, after that moment of clarity, saying, no, something is missing. And so when I met Dr. Fitness USA, he introduced me to his strength training system, and the conversation that he gave me was very different than anything I had ever heard before. I mean, I started dancing when I was 3 years old. That's a lot of years in the field. And he was telling me about things like never doing anything that's uncomfortable, working out from a female perspective. And for me as a professional dancer, it was about no pain, no gain. The show must go on. You just go no matter what. And that's how I live my life. And everything that I was hearing was puzzling, strange, different. But I was desperate and I had prayed for something, so I hired him. And so I started on the strength training program, and it was very, very scary for me because as a professional dancer, I didn't want to get bulky. And besides, I was so hurt. Just the thought of lifting something was like frightening. But, you know, when you pray for something and something comes your way, and you got to have a little faith. And so I hired him, and within a couple of weeks, my injuries were gone. Like my backache of 35 years was gone. And then slowly all my injuries disappeared. So I married him, logically. And
Of course.
of course. And, and I made a career transition. And now for the last 11 years, I've been researching his methods because it was puzzling for me. How, you know, I had done everything, why this is working, and all these other things I did weren't working. And through this process, I became a #1 best-selling author. One of my books is Feminine Body Design, Empowering Fitness for a Pain-Free Life. This is all the myth in fitness that I believed, and I see that it keeps women stuck. A lot of misconceptions in fitness, and here we are talking. I love helping women to regain their strength, recover their health, and but in a gentle way, not in what we know as fitness. You know, the thing. So that's how I started in this field.
And I think what you have in the dancing field that's in common with the nursing field is that there is the possibility of injury, particularly back injuries related to turning, repositioning, and pulling patients up in bed. Nurses do a lot of physical transferring of patients. The neonatal intensive care unit nurses, and you may not think of them as ones that would end up with back injuries because their patients are a few pounds, but they spend a lot of time with their neck bent over, looking down at the patients in the birthing beds or the incubators. So they are hunched over a lot of the time.
Absolutely. It has to be such a hard profession for physical strength and overuse injuries, of course. And one of the answers, and just like you said, with the dancing, the same thing. It's overuse injuries, using movements that we continuously do, and the importance of the strength training to prevent those types of injuries is with strength training, you can quantify your strength. You can really put the body back into balance because you're dealing with weight. So like 8 pounds is 8 pounds. So if you're doing something with your right arm at 8 pounds, and then you're doing it with the left arm, and you see, oh, my right arm is stronger than my left arm, you can become aware of that. And then you can start making a difference and fixing those muscular imbalances that ultimately cause the injuries that we have. So very, very important. I see it like so important for the nurse community, definitely.
Now, you mentioned that your book addresses some of the myths associated with fitness, and you brought up one yourself that you were concerned about weight and strengthening, weight training, strengthening training, because you didn't want to bulk up and get big muscular arms. Are there other myths associated with fitness besides that one?
Yes, there are many. For example, in weight loss, okay? In weight loss, the person wants to lose weight. And so now they go on the treadmill, they go running, they do a lot of aerobics, they go to Zumba. We see it all the time. And basically, that's also a myth. I mean, of course, it's better to move than to sit and be a couch potato, that we know that. But being aware of which fitness activity produces what results that you want to achieve is very important. So, for example, when you do aerobics, you burn calories and while you're doing the aerobics. So that's great. You want to burn calories, but that's it. That's for that half an hour you did the treadmill, you burn the calories, that's it. When you do strength training, you build muscle mass. So during the activity of strength training, you're going to burn about the same amount of calories that you burned when you did the aerobics. So that's all good. But then you're going to continue to burn calories for about 3 days after the activity because the muscles have to repair themselves and that takes calorie, takes energies. So basically for that half an hour of working out that you did, when you do aerobics, that's it. You're going to burn those calories. But when you do strength training, you're going to burn a lot more calories for a lot longer. So basically, you get a lot more bang for your buck, right? Like you get more for your half an hour. And of course, so strength training actually boosts your metabolism, so you can burn more fat. And again, when you do aerobics, so you're gonna lose a little bit of weight or whatever, but you're not gonna really build strength like on your upper body. That's why a lot of times women have stronger legs than upper body. So it's kind of having two people on the same frame, right? Strong legs and nothing upstairs. So you're not like, there's a disconnect. So when you do strength training, you can really build the whole body so that you can have a balanced physique. And when you have that, not only you look better, but then you are going to tone up. You see, you don't tone up by being on a treadmill. Like I said, just maybe a little bit of the legs, but that's it. So knowing the results, the effect of fitness activity is very important. And a lot of people are not aware of that. They think that as long as I walk or as long as I do something, I'm fit. But no, it's like if you meet a doctor or a lawyer, you're going to say, which specialty are you in, right? Are you a criminal lawyer? Are you a family lawyer? Are you this? In fitness, a lot of times people put everything in the same pot, not realizing that knowing these things, you could achieve a lot more results and make a more results, more benefits for the time spent, because time is a factor, right? We're all very busy, so yeah.
And I know that you mentioned earlier about weight loss, and I think that there are people listening to this podcast, maybe even the person who's listening right now, who can empathize and understand the expression about people gaining weight during the pandemic. I know that food is a tremendous source of comfort for me, and I know that I'm not unusual. But we're also facing the reality that if we've gained weight and we are uncomfortable with the weight that we have taken on, we need to release it. You know, the expression, we don't talk about losing weight because losing means that the weight can find you again. But if you release the weight, it goes out the door, around the corner, down the block, and maybe find somebody else, but not you. Can you give us some tips on releasing some weight?
Yeah, well, first of all, pick up strength training, start building muscle mass and boost your metabolism. And you can do that. And of course, with the pandemic, a lot of the gyms have closed, which was one of the things that we taught. There was people to work out in the gym very efficiently. But you can do strength training at home. As a matter of fact, we have a system that we've put together specifically for the pandemic, where you can learn a complete system with workout bands, which is great because you can use resistance, you can control the weight because the bands have different resistance, 10 pounds, 20, 30, 40, 50. You need to get the right bands, right? So that you can do that. But there are ways of doing strength training at home. And this is, for me, is the first tip, because if you don't do that, then you are basically on the wheel, literally. You're never going to address the cause of, the problem. But more than that, because if you can, a lot of the weight gain and what we're talking about, pandemic and all, is also stress related. Okay. So in our system, we can increase a person's strength by 20% very rapidly because it's a system. And we have found that when you can increase a person's strength, but the person is comfortable, it's not about pushing, forcing, like that male energy that the fitness industry promotes, really, basically. Boot camps, do more. It's not like that. It's in a place where the body is very grounded and safe. Because if you feel safe as a woman, you see, a woman needs to feel good, to do good, and to be successful. The man is more testosterone based. He's more in the competing, doing, proving, right? So I'm talking here specifically for women more. Then what happens is you can increase your strength physically. It works on the emotion too. So physical strength, emotional, mental, spiritual, we find that it's all related. And when you feel better physically and you're stronger, emotionally, you're going to be stronger as well. And when that happens, is you are making better decisions for yourself. You might not reach for that ice cream or that cookie or that, but for us, we don't ever approach like weight loss or these topics from that perspective. Always from building the strength first. Being strong, being emotionally strong, feeling good. Because as a result, then you're going to get the results that you're looking in releasing weight or in releasing other habits that might be not so good for the person, So that's how we do it. I like to explain it in a way like this, like the nervous system, and you're a nurse, so you understand the language. The nervous system, I compare it to like the electrical panel in the house. Okay, so the electrical panel, when it's outdated and you plug in too many appliances, then you're going to blow a fuse. And so the nervous system is kind of the same thing in the body. When you're stressed, on overload, doing too much, too many things, and then you're going to go work out, and then it's like, come on, let's do more. And so you're adding more stress, and it's like totally overloading an outdated electrical panel, and so you blow a fuse. So how does that what does that mean for the body? Weight gain, illness, injuries, anything. Everybody reacts differently. So increasing your physical strength physically is, and strengthening the nervous system is kind of like rewiring your house with a new electrical panel, right? So of course, when that happens, then whatever, if the releasing weight is what the person is looking for, things start flowing more naturally without forcing it. Does that make sense?
Yes, I understand. And I think what you're describing is rewiring, learning how to change your tastes. My husband and I bought a pizza not long ago, and we hadn't eaten pizza for months. And we used to like the taste of pizza. But if you really concentrate on how pizza makes your body feel, that cheese and that oil tends to sit in your stomach, and it feels like it's not going anywhere. And when you tune into how you feel after you eat food that's perhaps not the best for you, then it helps to discourage you from consuming it again.
Yes, it's that same philosophy is when you know what feeling good is, how that feels like, then you kind of want to stay there, right? You don't want to mess it up. Yeah, but I like pizza too, but we never buy it. We never buy it there's ways of cooking food where you can actually put healthier ingredients and still have the pleasure without having the damaging effects. So it's about balance also, right? But making better choices. So
Mhm.
we never believe in completely getting rid of everything, but finding replacements, like we like when we do have pizza. By the way, we had one last night and it was really good.
Uh-huh.
Funny you should mention pizza. I loaded with vegetable, fresh vegetables and things, so putting good ingredients in, and then you can still have the pleasure without having the negative effects, definitely.
Mhm.
Yeah. Mhm.
I'm intrigued by how you started off our podcast talking about how you had injured yourself and you learned techniques that got rid of that pain. The people who are listening to this program may be experiencing their own varieties of chronic pain associated with whatever their current physical exercise or activity level is. Can you share any tips that would help them if they're dealing with the kind of chronic pain that you're describing?
Yes. So there's two things that happen, and the one to tie it in just with what I just said about the nervous system, so we can take it as a notch further about pain. Is this the same thing? The nervous system is also responsible for the healing of the body. Okay. So when you can strengthen your nervous system, then your body is going to feel good. You're going to have, and we work on posture. That's something that I didn't address yet. The neurochemicals flow to the brain and the body through the spinal cord. So the posture is the lifeline to your health, basically. So a lot of people don't realize that, because they have pain, they are overcompensating one side or whatever, and over time it may shift the posture to poor posture, like we talked about, maybe for forward neck posture and things like this, which put blockages in the energy flow of the body. So when there's blockages, stagnation, there's disease, right? There's pain. So there's several things to keep in mind when we're talking about pain management or releasing pain, which is one of the things that my husband, Dr. Fitness USA, is known to do with people to actually get them pain free, like he did for me. And the first principle is postural alignment, so you can put the body back into balance. Okay, but you can only do this if you also work on muscular imbalances. That's what, like, most chiropractors don't tell you. They adjust you, and then you go home, whatever you do, then you have to go back because you've never built the muscles to hold the adjustment in place. So there's two things. You have to have the posture, and then you have to work on the muscular imbalances. Now, when you do this and your posture starts getting back into alignment, that allows the flow to happen through the body.
Mhm.
You strengthen the nervous system. Now things are starting to be in balance, right? It's like your nervous system gets strengthened, you have stress relief, your posture is into place. Now your body has a place to heal. Okay. The one thing that is one of the main misconceptions in pain management is that when a person has pain somewhere, they think about the recovery from the pain point. Oh, I have a pain here, my elbow hurts, or my knee hurts, or my back hurts, and that's what they think about. So now that's what they want to address. And
Mhm.
they don't realize that the body is a whole. Everything is connected. And if you have a pain in the back, it may not come from the back, it may come from somewhere else. And I think that this is one of the most enlightening things that I've found working with Stephen for 11 years now. That when somebody comes to him and they go, oh, I have so much pain in my shoulder or this or that, And he often doesn't even think about the pain point. He goes and start fixing other things, and then the pain goes away.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing to be aware of is stress management, postural alignment, muscular imbalances, and then it's never or often not where the pain is. It can come from somewhere else. So you always have to look at the body as a whole, not in parts.
I know that nurses will be familiar with that concept because there's the concept of referred pain. If somebody's having a heart attack, for example, they might be having pain in their jaw as opposed to in their chest. Or if you've got gallbladder pain, it may radiate around to your back. So there's all those mysterious parts about how our body works together to alert us that there's something wrong. And for the people who are in full-time legal nurse consulting practice, they may be spending a lot of time sitting in front of a computer in awkward positions or having their arm extended for long periods of time. Can you give us any comments or tips if we are physically inactive compared to what we talked about for the people who are on their feet taking care of patients all day or in a job that involves a lot of walking? What's the other side of this piece where we are too inactive?
Well, whether you are active or inactive, pain is pain, and the solution is still the same. So you do have to strengthen your body. You do have to put your body back into balance. And if you are inactive and you're sitting, then there are the conditions come from a different cause, but the outcome is the same. Like if you're moving around and you have overuse injuries, so now your back is tweaked or your shoulder or whatever, now you're sitting for hours. So now it's a different reason why, but then your muscles in your legs are going to shrink. It's going to your lower back is going to get really tense, and now you have the pain and the problem there for the reason of being inactive. So the solution is still the same. You have to work on posture. You have to do the exercises that are going to release the tension where the tension is, and then rebuild the muscles. If you're sitting 12 hours a day, your leg muscles and your butt muscles, they atrophy, so it's a little bit of a different problem, right? Than if you're too active, but then you still have to work out and put it back into balance and get it back into motion so the flow can happen and so the muscles can be there. People don't understand the importance of having a strong, healthy musculature. Okay, the muscles hold your body together. That's how you move, that's how you operate. And so a lot of people don't realize how important it is. Oftentimes we hear women say, oh, I don't want any muscles. Why don't you want any muscles? You have to have muscles, and it affects everything. It affects your internal organs. I mean, I'm not telling you anything new, right? But it's putting it into perspective in terms of the importance of working out in a specific way that's going to give you the results. Whether you are active or whether you're inactive sitting, you got to do the work. And when you know how to do it and you have a program, something that can address what you're looking for, you don't need to be working out 3 hours every day, all day, every day. It's not like that, but you got to do a little bit consistently so that it's like chipping at the block, right? So, yeah. So it doesn't take, like I work out 3 times a week. That's it. It's not, and so the concept of having to work out every day and it's painful and all that, that's a myth, at least in our system.
All right. So we shouldn't be discouraged or think that we have to spend 2 hours in the gym every day.
Absolutely.
Even if we could.
Even if you could, you don't have to. Absolutely not. No. I would if I had the time, because I love it, right? But then the body needs to rest anyway, because it's during the resting period that the body and the muscles repair. So even those who are working out every day for hours on end, at the end of the day, there is consequences. And that's the dancer's world too, the world I was from, because we danced 8 hours a day, every day, and we rarely rest. We weren't brought up in that mentality, right? Of resting and caring for the body. And I think that in your profession, the nursing profession, I think that there's probably a lot of that, because it's your job, your profession, you have to go to work. And so what do you do to have balance, to allow the body to rest and to recover, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's something to take into consideration.
Yes. There's a man in my Central Florida National Speakers Association group who used to run a ballet company. And he told me that the ballet dancers could go through in a single day a pair of those toe slippers, and they cost $150 a piece. And I think about when you talk about dancing for 8 hours and you're banging your foot against the floor, how much damage that would do to those slippers, who they look fairly insubstantial, although I'm sure they're padded around the toes. Nurses have learned early on that they have to have good quality footwear when they're on their feet, and their shoes are certainly constructed very different than ballet slippers. It reminds me of how much stress we put on our feet in the process of being in an active clinical role or in an active dancing profession.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. Footwear, like in dancing, for example, when we dance, we had to always make sure that the floor was like a sprung floor, and I don't know in hospitals, in the nursing profession, if there is such a consideration about putting padding on the floor in places where you have to stand, you know what I mean? Like the concrete is very hard on the body. So
it would be lovely for the nurses' feet, but there are bad things that happen to rugs in hospitals. They don't stay clean for any length of time because of body fluids that end up on the floor. So it would help the nurses' feet, but I know of one hospital in the Trenton, New Jersey area, brand new hospital, put down rugs. Within a year, they had to rip them all up because they didn't hold up well, without being graphic about it.
Yeah, I understand. So these are the side effects of the certain professions, right, that we have to deal with. Yeah. That's why putting the body into balance and getting strong so that the body can endure the effect of the professions or life, emotionally, physically, mentally, is really the first solution in any profession, because we all are subject to the environment. So we have to take care of ourselves. Ultimately, our body is our home, our vehicle, and we got to take care of it.
How can our listener find out more about you and the services that you offer?
Yes, so they can go to drfitnessinternational.com. That's the website, Dr. Fitness International, the short version, INT.com, drfitnessinternational.com. And then, of course, come and join us on social media, Facebook, YouTube, a lot of videos on YouTube, youtube.com/drfitnessusa. And LinkedIn, everywhere we're on social media. And on the website, you can schedule a consultation. I would love to have an opportunity to talk to your listeners, to come and see how we can help you. And of course, to join our upcoming masterclass. We have a masterclass that we hold regularly. And that's an hour and a half where we are starting to teach you the fundamental principles of strength training from home with or without equipment. So I would love to invite your audience to come and join us on that class as well.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you, Batista. I appreciate that. You've shared with us a lot of great tips and emphasized the importance of taking care of our bodies by maintaining our fitness, by weight training, by recognizing that chronic pain is not something that you have to learn how to live with, but you can take interventions to reduce it or eliminate it and live a stronger and healthier life.
That's it. You said it beautifully. And if your mind can conceive it and your heart can believe it, know that Dr. Fitness International can help you to achieve it. But understand that a lot of people think that there is no solution. You have to be having an open mind and an open heart to let the opportunities come and to realize and entertain the idea that it is possible. It is possible.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you to you, the listener, who's been listening to this on the audio channels where we are syndicating our shows, such as Spotify or Apple shows. We also have a YouTube channel, Legal Nurse Business, that carries the video portions of our podcasts. Be sure to check that out. Subscribe, leave a comment below if you're watching this on YouTube, and check out the next show in this series. Thanks so much. Hi, this is Pat Iyer with Legal Nurse Podcast. I have with me today Dr. David Mathis, who works within the correctional facility environment. And we've just spent 30 minutes talking about some of the factors that are different behind the walls than on the street. Dr. Mathis, what would you summarize from our conversation so that our listener will understand what our show is going to be about?
These cases are different. While they may have standard of care issues, these are largely civil rights cases, 1983 cases, deliberate indifference cases that are tried in, well, that are out of federal court. They rarely go to trial because they depend on the reports from the experts as well as the depositions. And then they ultimately are negotiated and settlements are made. They're a different breed of case than the standard of care case that might happen in your county because they're all in federal court, all in the different districts.
Well, thank you. We made some crucial distinctions in this podcast, and also Dr. Mathis shared some stories that help illustrate the differences in the ways that these things are resolved within the correctional system and when the legal system combines with that. Be sure to watch for the podcast with Dr. David Mathis on correctional facility, standard of care, and civil rights cases.